we'll take a look at how ECMAScript 6 handles parameters by using default parameters, the rest parameter, and the spread operator. First, we'll start with the default parameters values. So we'll have one function which is called greeting, and inside it we'll have just one parameter called name. So at this name we can specify it equals to guest, and this way when we write the body of the function we can just type console log, and inside in quotes we can type hello and then plus and the parameter. Alright, when we load up this function into the memory and run it without parameters, we will see hello guest, and if we pass a parameter to it, so inside we will type in quotes let's say John, we can see hello John on the screen. So this way we can provide default parameters and all cases in which we don't specify parameters to the body of the function. Next, we'll take a look at the rest parameter. It will allow us to use all the send parameters to the function. We'll create one function called greeting, and inside of the function we'll accept parameters, but all those parameters will type 3 dots before them, and that's what we call rest parameter. So we'll type 3 dots and then we'll type names. Inside of the body of the function we'll open up a for loop which will get everything which is inside of those names and display it on the screen. This way we'll be looping through all the names and we'll be saving them into the name variable, and then we'll just console log the names. Alright, when we try to run it, we can provide John and Maria as 2 separate parameters, and when we run the function it displays the whole array of names. This is because in our function we are logging up the names, but actually would like to log each single variable from this names array. We rewrite the function and start it once again. We'll see the 2 names displayed by the console log. We'll take a look at the spread operator. So let's create 2 arrays. We can concatenate the 2 arrays into a new one. So we will just type let full array equals to, we open the square brackets and we close them, and inside we will just use the 3 dots and we'll place first the negative array, then we'll separate with 0, let's say, and then 3 dots and we'll concatenate the positive array. Alright, when we have this array we can display it on the screen, and we see that actually with the spread operator we have combined the 2 arrays into a third one. Alright guys, let's see how the structuring works. We have one array with 3 values inside, and then we would like to grab all those values into 3 variables. After defining the array, we can see what's inside of the variables, so we can type console.log 1, 2 and 3, and we see that all those values have been transferred. How we can swap certain variables? Usually we use an intermediate variable, but here with the structuring we can just swap the variables very easily, saving into those variables the output of their reverse order. So we can see that inside of the first, now we will have hello, and the second is the world. So it's very easy to swap variables, just we have to specify the order of the variables we would like to save from the source array. The next example we'll take a look is how we can have a function which returns an array. So we have a returning array of 1 and 2 with the values. Afterwards, we define two variables, and via the structuring, we would like to capture the output of this function. We would like to capture in the variables a and b what has been returned from the function. When we run and take a look at what is inside of a, we see 1, and the b, it has 2. This means that very easily we can specify here multiple variables which can capture the return from our function. The next example will show us how we can get only the first, let's say, item from an array and save all the others into a different one. So we have first our array here with all the users. So we have the latest user and then the others following. And if we want to capture the latest user, we just type via the structuring variable latest here. And then with the rest operator, we would like to capture all the rest from the array into the variable of users, which will be an array. Once we have defined our destructuring here on the left side, we just want to capture everything from the array, which is from the right side. What's inside our latest? We see that we have the latest user here in this variable. And if we would like to check out what's inside of the users, we see that the rest of the data, so all those users are being saved into this array. Okay, the next example, we have one object with ID, username, first name, and we can usually use the structuring, but this time within objects. So we see that here we have, instead of brackets, curly braces for denoting the object. So we're just trying to mimic how this object looks like here. And inside we would like to capture just the ID and the username. From the right side is the source where we would like to capture all those. So this is our object. So when we run the code, we can try to see what's inside of our ID. And we see that we capture the ID from the object. The same holds true from the variable username. So this is a very nice way of capturing data from objects. The next example is similar to the previous one. This time we have one object. It has several fields. Inside of the user object, we have a full name variable, which is actually an object containing his first name and last name. And in our function getInfo, we would like just to take certain parts from the objects. The easiest way is just to copy the object and paste it here and then clear out the fields we don't want to include. We're interested in only this parameter. And from the full name, we would like to use only the first name. We would like to save the value of the first name into a variable called name. Okay, so we are interested only in the first name inside of the second object here, or the sub-object. After we run the function, we see we managed to get inside this object and get the sub-info first name here as a secret.